Well, welcome everybody. We're excited tonight to talk about prenatal health and building a healthy baby and a healthy mama. I think that one of the things that we forget about when we're talking about prenatal health is that this isn't just about the baby. It's really about taking care of mom too. And that's something that I am particularly passionate about and I'm excited to share with you tonight. Now, before we get started, there are some ground rules. We have rules around this, especially this particular class that we're talking about. First, this is brief. We're trying to keep this condensed. You're tired, you got a lot going on. We're not going to get into everything. So this is going to be brief. So if you have questions, there's a lot more information about everything that we're talking about. So if you have questions, reach out to the person who invited you because they would love to make sure that you get all the information, but we can't cover everything here. Second thing is that there is no guilt allowed. It is not allowed. You are not allowed to be guilty. If we talk about something that you didn't do in your first pregnancy or your second pregnancy or you're halfway through your pregnancy and you didn't do these things, you are not allowed to feel guilty. That's not the point of this. This is to empower you to help you make better choices tomorrow or to incorporate something new tomorrow. But you are not allowed to feel guilty. That's not what this is about. So that's not allowed. And this is also about small steps. So we're going to talk about a lot of different things. Don't feel overwhelmed. Know that small steps do lead to big results and small steps do matter. So if you have a few things that you take away that can build a healthier pregnancy, that's awesome. Now, first, we always want to talk about our why. We want to talk about why we're even having this discussion. So why does our prenatal health matter? And it matters because how we invest in our health affects the health of our baby and us. But prenatal health also has a cumulative effect for mama. How we take care of ourselves during this season of our life will make a difference in the years and years after our babies. And we can talk more about that too. But why is prenatal health worth the effort? We're going to share a couple things that do take some effort. But just remember that we choose our challenges every day. Every day we choose to have this challenge or that challenge. So changing our nutrition, it can be a challenge. But the challenges that come from not changing our nutrition are challenges too. So we choose our challenges every day. Sometimes they're immediate, sometimes they're later on. But because we have, but we can thrive by taking small, simple steps that lead to big results. So it is worth taking those steps. And because you are worth the effort, and so is your baby. Now, what we want to remind you is that our mission is to change healthcare into well-care in every facet of life, in every different health topic, from prenatal care to so many different things. But really, that in so many cases, what happens is that we wait for people to get sick. And instead of waiting for people to get sick, we want to help people be well in the beginning, especially in the midst of their pregnancy. And really this idea that we believe in what we call the Shaklee effect. And it's this idea that we help people make small, simple steps that lead to big results. And in this case, it does make a huge difference, those small, simple steps. So let's talk about nutrition first. Nutrition is a big one. Promise it's going to be the hardest thing we talk about. So let's talk about the lie and the truth. The lie is that I'm pregnant, so this is my chance to eat whatever I want. But the truth is that I'm pregnant. So what I eat today doesn't only affect me, but it affects my baby. And what I eat today affects me after this baby is born as well. These are the realities around nutrition and why it matters. So we know the realities. There's morning sickness, there's food aversion, there's busy motherhood. You can't always eat the perfect diet because there are challenges during pregnancy, but we still have a choice. And let's keep that choice simple. Eat more vegetables, eat less sugar. We can get all sorts of nitty gritty and details, but it's as simple as that. Remember, why? Let's talk about some whys so that when it's hard, we have some tools to remember why we're doing this. So why do we eat more vegetables? They strengthen the immune system. Your immune system is suppressed when you're pregnant. You are sharing all of your nutrients, all of the things that you have with that baby. You are more tired. Your body's under more stress. There's a bunch of reasons why your immune system is suppressed. But vegetables will strengthen your immune system, giving your body those nutrients. Eating vegetables reduces inflammation and swelling. So a lot of times we are dealing with those issues during pregnancy. Eating more vegetables will reduce those. It gives your baby the important nutrients that they need. And you. Let's not forget about you. When we eat vegetables, our body functions the way it's supposed to because we're getting the nutrients that we need. Eating more vegetables also reduces the risk of gestational diabetes and gestational hypertension. But if you already have those, it also improves the symptoms. It will help you manage those things better and have better health. Now, on the other hand, sugar weakens the immune system. So if you are already living in a place where you have a suppressed immune system, you're going to weaken it more the more sugar you consume. And that's not just processed candy, cookies, things like that. Yet those are more tempting. But really, it's all kinds of sugar. We talk a lot about how to help reduce the amount of sugar and making sure that your sugars and fibers balance each other out. But sugar increases inflammation. So it's going to increase swelling. It's going to increase all of those things. It greatly affects gut health, which we will talk about. And it increases the risk of all health-related pregnancy issues. Another thing we want to focus on, I know we said eat more vegetables, eat less sugar, but we also want to make sure that you know that protein is really important. Protein is key for everybody, especially women. But what's huge about protein is that it builds and repairs cells, and it increases your energy. So we live in a society that isn't deficient in protein, yet women often do not get enough protein. And one of the things that we see is because they're just in a hurry to take care of everybody else. They're doing this, they're doing that, and they don't take the time to get protein. So making sure that you get protein is key. And water. Water is really important all the time, but make sure you're drinking enough water when you're pregnant too. But one of the sources of protein that we definitely recommend is considering something like the Shaklee Life Shake. What I love about the Shaklee Life Shake is it's totally safe for pregnancy. And it increases your energy. It helps keep you full. It helps, what I loved about it, particularly for me in pregnancy, was it helps keep your blood sugar balanced. What happens a lot of times is that when you are not eating enough and you're not getting enough protein, your blood sugar dips. And so when your blood sugar dips, what do you go for? You go for the sugars because your body says, I want candy, I want chocolate, because it's going to get your blood sugar to the right level sooner. So that's another one of these things, especially during pregnancy, that's going to help reduce those cravings for sugar by keeping your blood sugar stable. It's also going to make sure that you're continuing to build your lean muscle mass, because you're preparing for some big things, whether it's labor and delivery, caring for baby, giving your body the things it needs. And this is 20 grams of protein with 0 added sugar. So this is one of those things we greatly recommend. But let's talk about when we make these changes in our nutrition, let's talk about the side benefits. My favorite thing about nutrition and about taking care of your health naturally is that with a lot of things, prescriptions, which are not bad, they're not bad, but when you choose to go that direction, you have a lot of side effects that you have to choose from. But then when we deal with nutrition and we deal with healing our bodies, then we have side benefits. So when you have a healthy nutrition, you have less unhealthy and excessive weight gain. We're all going to gain weight when we have babies, but there is definitely a difference between healthy normal weight gain and unhealthy excessive weight gain. And what happens is that excessive weight gain tends to cause more health problems for mom down the road. So if we're eating the right foods, we're not going to find ourselves in that position. Excuse me. I don't know where you live, but it's really dry in Chicago with the heat on. But bad habits to break later. So one of the things I see a lot is that women who are like, I can eat whatever I want during pregnancy, just keep eating that way because you become addicted to those foods. Those foods just continue to fuel you. And for those momentary sugar fuelings, and they end up having bad habits they need to break years down the road. You get better sleep and more energy when you're eating vegetables. Sugar does not help with either one of these things, though it may help with a spike of energy. Sustaining energy, it's not going to help with, but it's also eating vegetables and healthy foods is going to help you have better sleep. It's going to give you better gut health. Gut health is really important. And what's very interesting is I read through some significant research which talked about that women pass their gut health on to their baby. And so it's not only our gut health that we're going to be dealing with, but whatever our gut health is, we're going to pass on to our babies. I spoke with one woman who, out of her 4 children, she significantly remembered the issues the things that were going on in her life, and that she consumed way more sugar during it's actually her 3rd baby, as opposed to the other 3 and of the 4. And she, the issues that they dealt with down the road with that child and their gut health issues were significantly different than the other 3. And that obviously that was not a clinical study. That was just her story. But there have been multiple clinical studies that show that the gut health is passed to the baby. And therefore, that's just one example where it played out. But gut health is really important because 70 to 80% of your immune system is in your gut. 40% of your brain receptors are in your gut, and 70% of your serotonin is made in your gut. Now let's stop and talk about that for a minute. When we're talking about low immunity, both for pregnant mom and mom down the road, that matters, right? We run into that a lot. 40% of our brain receptors are in our gut, and 70% of our serotonin is made in our gut. That is where we find a huge link between nutrition and depression and anxiety, including postpartum depression and anxiety. And that doesn't mean that there is not clinical postpartum depression and clinical postpartum anxiety, but whether or not you have a mild case or a severe clinical case, healing your gut is going to give you improvement no matter where you're at. No matter if you are on medication or not on medication, healing your gut is going to improve those things. There's a very interesting TED Talk I highly recommend checking out, is the surprisingly dramatic role between our nutrition and our mental health. I highly recommend checking that out. But we have definitely seen improvements in these things by changing nutrition. Also, if you're eating healthy, dad is less likely to gain baby weight. I know a lot of families where they talk about who gained more weight during pregnancy, mom or dad. But if the healthy food is in the house, everybody's going to be healthier. You're going to have healthier skin. So that's a fabulous benefit, is that eating healthy. We just actually did a full presentation on skin health, and a big part of that was nutrition and how nutrition plays into skin health. So that's going to really help. Even as those hormones are changing, it's going to be helpful for the skin. You're going to have reduced effects of postnatal depletion. This is a subject that I train on often, and we have a full presentation on this idea of postnatal depletion. But really making sure that your nutrition is good during pregnancy is going to help you feel better even after the baby is born. And like I said before, nutrition is highly linked to mental health, which is a big piece, including gut health. So what are some other pieces of this? Okay, so nutrition is hard. This is the second hardest, and then our last 2 sections are easier. They're just little swaps. So a big piece of having of prenatal health is managing stress, because it matters. So one of those things is learning to say no so that you have time to rest. If you need it, here you have some permission to say no to things, especially if you're pregnant right now and we're getting into the holidays. Expectations, maybe expectations of the children you already have, of your family. You have to learn to say no. You need to prioritize your rest, and you need to prioritize making sure that you have time not only to physically sleep, but to rest as well. Because stress greatly affects your immunity, it affects your sleep, and it affects your diet. A lot of stress eating happens, and that's even in my experience and a lot of people I talk to, especially during pregnancy. Sleep, you need it. So there are going to be seasons, especially upcoming if you're having a baby, where you're going to get less amount of sleep. So making sure that you have quality of sleep now and after baby. Quality of sleep can be difficult for a lot of people. And one of the things I see during pregnancy is a calcium magnesium deficiency. So women who have trouble sleeping, who have Charlie horses waking them up in the middle of the night, I hear about this a lot. Calcium magnesium deficiency is where it's at. And one of the side benefits of calcium magnesium is I actually started taking calcium magnesium in my pregnancies to avoid cavities, because baby gets first dibs. We have to remember this. when we're talking about our food, when we're talking about our supplements, baby gets first dibs. So baby gets first dibs on the calcium, first dibs on the magnesium. So that's why women who are pregnant often get cavities, because baby is taking the nutrients that they need. That's why women get Charlie horses, because the magnesium that they're consuming goes to baby first. So the Charlie horses come from. So those things, making sure that quality of sleep, and calcium magnesium also helps you to relax. It's often a lot of things on our mind when we're expecting a baby. So making sure we're taking care of that too. Big encouragement. This could be a whole nother topic as well for another call, but exercise during pregnancy. I highly recommend exercise during pregnancy. Now, the key is that you keep doing what you have been doing. If you don't CrossFit, don't start CrossFitting when you become pregnant. But if you already CrossFit, you can continue CrossFitting, and your coach can help you find modifications that work for you. So there's a lot of different information around this, but doing some movement is good. It's good for your muscles, and it's good for your managing your stress. It's good for your energy, and it's good for your mood. It's also good for your immune system. So all of these things, finding a plan that works for you at your current fitness level to get yourself moving. Now, the next thing is, like I said, a lot simpler than changing your nutrition. It's just making some simple swaps in your home, removing the toxins. So the first toxic area that is really important all the time, but especially during your pregnancy, is your household cleaners. Number one thing to start with, if you're thinking about making just one swap, is your laundry detergent. You think about it that you are wearing all these clothes and breathing in, and then laying on your sheets and your pillows, and you're breathing in, and your skin is absorbing all of these toxins. That's not good for you, and it's not good for baby. It also makes sleep more difficult. It can affect our immunity. It can affect our mood. But it's also prep for baby, because everybody goes out and buys like baby safe laundry detergent, right? But sometimes that has more chemicals. It just is a gentler, I guess. I'm not even sure, but it has all the chemicals. And so finding something that works for baby is a great time to start now by removing it, so that you can start getting the benefits now of having the toxins removed. And also, toxic laundry detergent is also linked to allergies, asthma, skin issues, eczema, things like that. But I've also seen it just help people sleep better by removing those toxins. So it's safe for baby, and if you're planning to cloth diaper, Shaklee's laundry detergent is safe for cloth diapering. It's very effective. So that's a big one, but also skincare. Thinking about that everything we put on our skin absorbs in our bloodstream in 26 seconds. And all of our products build on each other. So most things out there don't have enough toxins to light up any red flags, but they have enough that if you are using more than one thing that you're putting on your skin, those toxins do build up. So thinking about simple switches you can make to switch to something less toxic. For me, and this is me when I was pregnant with my third, which was 5 years ago, but for me, it was about finding a company I could trust. When I was looking for health changes, I was looking for supplements that actually absorbed in the body, and we'll get to that. I was looking to find cleaners that actually worked, were actually safe, and didn't break the bank, and I was looking to replace my skincare. All of these things had happened in different places that I'd done research on. And when I found Shaklee, what was incredible to me was that it was all those things. And so for me, it was a company that I could trust when I was making these switches over time, that I knew that I could trust this company and the products they were making. Now let's talk about supplementation. For a lot of you, this may be a lot of swapping, but maybe it's not. So let's talk about why we supplement. Basically, we supplement because our food supply is not what it used to be. We cannot get all the nutrients that we need from food. Our soil is depleted. Our food is grown and picked while it's not ripe, and then it's brought to our grocery store so that it's made, and we can get there in time to not go bad before it gets to our house. And the nutritional value is just not what it used to be. So the nutritional value in 1 carrot 60 some years ago, it now takes 6 carrots to get that nutritional value. We also are not necessarily eating all the colors of the rainbow. We talk a lot about DHA and omegas during pregnancy. We're not eating a lot of fish. There's a lot of fear around fish, especially when you're pregnant. We're not eating a lot of fish, so we want to make sure that we're getting those omegas all the time, not just while we're pregnant. And how does this change postnatal depletion? So postnatal depletion is something that affects so many women. It is one of the things that I speak to women on more than any other topic. And 2 of the causes of postnatal depletion are being depleted before you ever have a baby. So many women go into pregnancy being depleted. They're not getting enough of key nutrients. And then they get pregnant and maybe they nurse, maybe they don't, but whatever they're doing, whenever they are, they're giving baby first dibs on all of those nutrients. And then so many women also are not making sure they refuel in between. So if they're not properly supplementing and properly eating during pregnancies or between, then they just keep being more depleted and more depleted and more depleted. That's this whole idea of a cumulative effect. Prenatal health has a cumulative effect because postnatal depletion can last up to 10 years after having a baby. And I kind of think that it can last longer because if we're not taking care of our bodies, then we're going to be struggling with a lot of different things. So the next question to ask is, why does our brand matter and what is bioavailability? So I want to talk about this because it's really important. It's really important to know all the time, but especially when you're pregnant, that your brand is safe, that you can trust the purity, but also that it's actually absorbing in your body. There are so many supplements out there that are not getting absorbed in the body. So let's talk about 2 questions around that to give you some specific examples. So some people say, why am I constipated by my prenatal vitamin? That is a really easy answer. The reason that prenatal vitamins often constipate people is because there are multiple different types or ways to put iron in a supplement. And when you use the cheap one that doesn't absorb as well, it constipates because it doesn't absorb fully into the body. So it really matters what kind of iron a company is using to absorb in your body. Here's one of my favorite questions. We talk about this with postnatal depletion a lot, but it's good for you to think about now. So at least in most areas of the country, why does a breastfed baby need iron and D drops? So a lot of times when you have a baby, they say, oh, you're breastfeeding. Well, if you're breastfeeding, your baby's not getting enough iron or vitamin D, so let's put these nasty little drops in their mouth, right? Let's wait a minute here. Breast milk is the perfect food. So if you choose to breastfeed, that should be sufficient. If your breast milk doesn't have enough iron or vitamin D, that means you don't have enough vitamin D or iron. And those are 2 key nutrients that affect energy. So when I'm talking about women with energy, it's protein, the B vitamins, vitamin D, and iron. So if breast milk doesn't have enough iron and vitamin D, that means you don't either. If you don't, that means your supplements are not absorbing in the body because all 3 of those supplements are very, very much prevalent in almost all prenatal vitamins. But if they're not absorbing, that's why women are deficient. So I want to talk a little bit about that purity, that potency issue that we talked about, because it really does matter. So with Shaklee, and the reason that I trust Shaklee and so many other women, you'll hear a bunch of testimonies at the end, trust Shaklee is because they test for over 350, they do over 350 tests for contaminants. So they test on every new botanical ingredient for over 350 contaminants, pesticides, residues, heavy metals. You will never find lead in our vitamins. And you might think to yourself, who would find lead in a prenatal vitamin? Well, it happens. There is a study that tested over 375 prenatal vitamins, and I think 75% of them had lead in them. And it wasn't because the companies were evil. It was just because they weren't checking. So that is why we use this phrase beyond organic, because even if a supplier or a product is certified organic, we still test it. And we do so many tests, clinical testing, to make sure things actually absorb in the body. That was the thing that honestly drew me to Shaklee when we were on our own health journey, which was, for us, it was before we had kids, so we were able to incorporate this in our pregnancies. But they do They have, I think it's like 140 at this point, published scientific papers and presentations. So not only do they do their own clinical testing, but they have peer-reviewed journals who are testing the products as well to prove the efficacy of what they're doing. And not only that, but Shaklee, you may not know, you may have come to this and thought it was called Shaklee, which is okay, but it's called Shaklee because Dr. Shaklee invented the first multivitamin in 1915. So, and the company started in 1956, but what we see is that this level of integrity has been going on for over 100 years. I've met, many women and men who were Shaklee babies, who are in their 40s and 50s now. But so knowing that this has this long-standing integrity behind it really made me feel all that more confident when I was thinking about what I was putting in my body when I was pregnant. So let's talk about some specifics. One of my favorite things to recommend as a prenatal is something that we call Vitalizer. It pretty much is your one-stop shop for some pretty amazing nutrients that you need. So one of the things, if you look on this little chart, the red ones contain your DHA, your omegas. This is going to help with your brain health. This is one of the things that we see the biggest effect in postnatal depletion. It's going to affect baby's brain. It's going to contribute to people who have more omegas during pregnancy, especially during the third trimester, are less likely to get postnatal depression and postnatal anxiety because your brain needs this. And so many of us are not getting it from our diet. But it's also, like I said, it's great, important for baby's brain, for baby's eyes, and ours too. The green ones are a multivitamin, and that's where you're going to find sufficient iodine for pregnancy, sufficient iron. You're also going to find your folic acid, some B vitamins, and your vitamin D. The yellow one down there is your B and C complex, which is awesome because it is on a fiber in this one. So you're going to get your vitamin C for immune support, your vitamin B, which is going to help with your both moods and energy. Also helps contribute to lowering the risk of postnatal anxiety and postnatal depression. And then the Optiflora probiotic helps support healthy digestion, which a lot of us know can be an issue during pregnancy, but it also promotes gut health, which we talked about, that gut health being so important for our immunity and for our mental health. A few other recommendations that we recommend is something called Osteomatrix. That's our calcium magnesium supplement. What I love is that it also has additional vitamin D, which is great for increasing immunity and just generally your mood, your health, so many things, especially around pregnancy. Vitamin D3, so if you just take additional vitamin D, I usually took additional vitamin D during pregnancy and especially during nursing because I wanted to make sure, especially for us in the Midwest, that me and baby also had enough vitamin D, because vitamin D not only has real-time health benefits, but it also is proven to have a lot of long-term health benefits by having enough vitamin D. The Life Shake, like I mentioned, which is an awesome protein meal replacement supplement. And obviously when you're pregnant, you're not trying to necessarily lose weight. For some people, that is their breakfast, and then they have second breakfast like the hobbits. But it's a really great addition. I personally like to have it in the middle of the day too because it helped with that balancing of the blood sugar. Actually, with this third pregnancy, it was a boy, and I would wake up every morning at 2 a.m. and have an additional Life Shake because I was so hungry. And then it would help me sleep too. The Life Shake is helpful when you're on the flip side for healthy weight loss that is also supporting milk supply. So that's good to know for later. So that Vitalizer has 4 key components, as it has over 80 nutrients, but 4 key components that are important for prenatal health that you can get all separately as well. That would be the Vitally Women, our multivitamin. That's where you're going to find your iron and your vitamin D and your iodine. That's sufficient for a prenatal vitamin. But I always pair that with Omega Guard for sure. That's where you're going to get your DHA, your omegas for brain health. B complex is also a great one to have for additional energy, additional focus. Sometimes people like, even if they have Vitalizer, they might like to have extra B complex, but that is always one I recommend. And then the probiotic, again, for digestive health and gut health. Again, side benefits. You are going to see so many side benefits from making sure that you have the nutrients that you need, not just for your pregnancy, but just in general, for your focus, for your mental clarity, for your immunity, for your recovery, all of these things, because you have a better baseline of general health. And we can go on and on with the side benefits. So let's go back to the ground rules again. This was very brief. We did not cover everything. There's so much to share. Again, no guilt is allowed. If there is anything that you didn't do during a pregnancy or haven't done, there is no guilt. This is just to empower you to move forward. And the last thing is that, remember, it's about small steps, and some are easier than others. It is really easy to swap out your laundry detergent. It is really easy to switch from a prenatal that constipates you to a prenatal that doesn't constipate you. It is a lot harder to change your nutrition. We know that. But we want to support you and we want to help you. So think you say, what's next? Do you believe you're worth change? Do you? Because we do. We believe that you are worth making these changes to your health and your baby's health. And then it's deciding, what changes do you want to make? Where do you want to start? So get with the person who invited you to this call. Connect with them, and they will help you put together a plan that is perfect for you, for what you want to do and for your goals. And then real briefly, I'm going to have you check out some testimonials. If you're watching this on a recording, you can pause those and read them more closely. And then at the end, we're going to have some time for questions. And if you're watching this live and I move too fast, we can get you the recording so you can check out the testimonies eventually too. Well, thank you again so much for joining us. I hope these testimonies were helpful, and we look forward to helping you start on your Shaklee plan for your pregnancy. I'm going to stop recording here in just a second, and then we will open it up for questions. I guess you have some extra time to read this one because I'm having trouble getting the stop record button. There we go.